In November 2024, Universal's blockbuster musical Wicked hit theaters after intense marketing, cast scandals, production hell, and reservations from Broadway fans. The film was able to gain respect from Wicked musical fans and introduce a whole new audience to the Witches of Oz. A Wicked movie had been highly anticipated for 2 decades, with Wicked being one of the most popular and profitable shows on Broadway for years. The musical adapted from the 1995 Gregory Maguire novel, which looked into Elphaba's life before she became the Wicked Witch of the West that wreaks havoc over Dorothy and her friends in The Wizard of Oz. If you want to learn more about that, you can watch my Wicked musical lore video or my Wizard of Oz lore video. But today we're diving deep into the Wicked movie phenomenon, looking at a timeline of the production, the background of actors, all the different scandals, memes, leaks, and the ever-changing public approval, as well as the final product. I'm going to be giving a lot of facts, but also my commentary and discussion about the movie and my opinions. You're watching this video with the understanding that I'm going to be talking about things that happen in Act 2 of Wicked and some speculation about what's going to happen in the Wicked for Good movie based on the ending of the book and the musical. So first we need to talk about Wicked's pre-production. Since opening on Broadway, there has been talks about bringing Wicked to the big screen. The Wicked creative team would announce early on the producer Mark Platt, book writer Winnie Holzman, and songwriter Stephen Schwartz had begun meeting with filmmakers. In 2010, rumors were swirling with different directors being attached to the Wicked project, from J.J. Abrams, James Mangold, Ryan Murphy, and Rob Marshall. Can you imagine a Ryan Murphy Wicked? Leah Michele would play Elphaba for sure, right? But in 2012, Stephen Daldry would be attached to direct. He is a West End, Broadway, and film director, best known for directing Billy Elliot and The Crown, and Winnie Holzman was to write the screenplay. So after years of vague updates and teasing from Universal, in 2016, they would announce that they're moving forward with the Wicked film, and in June of 2016, they would schedule the movie for a December 20th, 2019 release, which didn't happen. But in May of 2017, Stephen Schwartz would announce that at least 2 new songs are being written for the film. But despite them seemingly moving forward on the project, in August of 2018, Universal would put Wicked on hold and give the December 20th, 2019 theatrical release spot to the Andrew Lloyd Webber musical movie adaptation of Cats, another Universal Pictures project.
But when they reach the scene of crime, McCavity's not there.
And then again in April of 2020, Universal would put the film on hold among shifting release dates to accommodate for the COVID pandemic, and they would give Sing 2 the Wicked 2021 release date. Then in October of 2020, Deadline would report that Wicked director Stephen Daldry exits Universal movie musical adaptation, and they would report the creative community is buzzing that Steven Spielberg is looking to find a directing vehicle after wrapping West Side Story. That was the rumor going around at the time, I guess probably before West Side Story was kind of a flop. But in February of 2021, John M. Chu was tapped to direct Universal's film adaptation of Wicked. He's best known for directing the romantic comedy Crazy Rich Asians and the other musical movie adaptation of Lin-Manuel Miranda's In the Heights. I actually do see some similarities between Wicked and In the Heights, and I think In the Heights did a decent job at bringing the stage production to the screen. John Chu's other project, the Crazy Rich Asians sequel, has also been in production hell for a while. They've been having a lot of problems like gender pay gap discrepancies for their co-screenwriters, but perfect time for him to be able to direct the Wicked movie. And in November of 2021, the first casting announcements were made for the film, and it was announced that Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo would star as Glinda and Elphaba in the film. So who are Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo? So first, let's talk a bit about Ariana Grande's background. She was born in Boca Raton, Florida, and is the daughter of Joan Grande, a CEO of a marine manufacturing communications equipment company. Ariana always had a love for theater and performing. In 2008, Ariana would get her first big break, getting cast in the Jason Robert Brown musical 13 alongside her childhood friend Erin Simon Gross. The show would have an off-Broadway tryout in June of 2008 before transferring to Broadway in October. 13 the musical would have all teenage cast and band, which is quite uncommon for Broadway, and the show would have 13 13-year-olds as the characters. 13 tells the story of Evan Goldman, a New York City kid who moves to the suburbs and is completely out of place there. Ariana Grande would play Charlotte, one of the cheerleaders. She would also understudy the female lead, Patrice. 13 would run for about 4 months and close in early 2009. Okay, I have a bit of a random 13 tangent, but if anyone would care about it, I assume it'd be the people who are watching this video. Ariana Grande would understudy Ali Trim, who was playing Patrice in 13, and I actually noticed that in 2021, Ali Trim became the standby for Galinda on Broadway, and it was just announced that she would take over the role of Galinda full-time on Broadway, and I was not even just saying this as like a slight to her that she's a standby and not like the lead or whatever, like she's worse than Ariana. That wasn't my point at all. I think it's incredible to be even the standby in Broadway's Wicked. That's a huge achievement. But I just thought it was so interesting that these two girls that played this same role in 13, like 15 years ago, are now both playing Galinda. And I've actually been following Ali Trim's career because I became such a big 13 fan, because I was such a fan of Ariana Grande and Elizabeth Gillies in Victorious, and I want to learn more about them and their past. And like years ago when I was 13, I was trying to Google like how to watch this Broadway musical that my two favorite Victorious characters were in, and that led me on a big 13 deep dive. So this is very full circle for me, realizing now that I guess Ariana and Elizabeth were part of the reason I even became a Broadway fandom member online, because I became a fan of like Wicked and Newsies and all that after I found out that 13 had like an online fan base and there were ways to watch Broadway shows and talk about Broadway shows even if you didn't live in New York, because I was very obsessed with Ariana Grande and Elizabeth Gillies when they were in Victorious, because a weird part of my lore is I actually used to run a Victorious fan blog way back in the day. So that's why I know so much about Ariana's early career. But anyway, back to the video. After being in 13, Ariana and her co-star Elizabeth Gillies from 13 were both cast in the Nickelodeon musical sitcom created by Dan Schneider, Victorious. Victorious tells the story of a group of teenagers navigating life and wacky adventures at their performing arts high school in Hollywood. Ariana Grande played fan favorite character Cat Valentine, the naive and quirky,
"My name's Cat, like the animal. What's that supposed to mean?"
but extremely talented actress and singer.
He didn't say I couldn't say.
The show would air from 2010 to 2013. And while Ariana was in Victorious, she would also begin to grow her own fan base by posting covers online. She would also try to launch her music career with the bubblegum pop sound with the song Put Your Hearts Up in 2011, but not feeling like the song was true to her identity and more of putting on the Cat Valentine persona, she would pull back from releasing music. But she would release a collab with the artist Mika on the Popular song, which interpolates Popular from Wicked, the Broadway musical. The way I blasted this song on my iPod Nano.
Popular, I know about popular, and with an assist from me to be who you'll be, instead of dreary who you were, well, are. Popular, I know about popular, it's not about who you are or your fancy car.
So after Victorious ended in 2013, Ariana Grande and Jeanette McCurdy would get the chance to have a spin-off of both iCarly and Victorious to make Sam and Cat, where Ariana would reprise the role as Cat Valentine and Jeanette McCurdy would play Sam Puckett. During the time that Sam and Cat was airing, Ariana would release her debut album, Yours Truly, with more R&B and pop influences. The album was very successful and launched Ariana into teen pop stardom, and she would begin to move away from acting and transition into becoming a full-time pop singer. And after season 2 of Sam and Cat was canceled because of behind-the-scenes production problems, I would definitely recommend checking out Jeanette McCurdy's book, I'm Glad My Mom Died, to learn more about what happened behind the scenes of Sam and Cat. And Ariana did face some backlash for this because there were rumors that there were pay discrepancies between Ariana and Jeanette. That didn't actually end up being the reason the show ended, but Ariana already had a feud rumor with Victoria Justice in the end of Victorious, so then this also created a feud rumor with her and Jeanette McCurdy. But she would go on to focus on her music after finishing Sam and Cat and release her second album, My Everything, with EDM, dance pop, and electronic influences. And then she would follow up the next year with her third album, Dangerous Woman. And during this time in 2015 and 16, she would go back to acting a bit, being a recurring character in Ryan Murphy's Scream Queens. And she would also get in touch with her musical roots again, playing Penny Piggleton in Hairspray Live. The reviews for Ariana's performance in Hairspray Live were pretty positive. Variety would review the TV special and write, Ariana Grande, certified pop star, came away the show's MVP, acting as both reliably overlooked sidekick and, once the situation requires it, show-stopping diva. Kristen, as we know, the original Glinda, and Dove Cameron, one of the highly talked about and fan cast actors to play Glinda, were also in this production of Hairspray Live. Ariana would continue to cement herself as a main pop girl with Sweetener in 2018, Thank You Next in 2019, and Positions in 2020. She would also have public relationships like with Big Sean, Ricky Alvarez, Mac Miller, and Pete Davidson before marrying real estate agent Dalton Gomez in May of 2021. Her wedding photos were the second most liked picture on Instagram when she posted them, so people were very supportive of her finding love and healing from the hardships that she's faced in the public eye, like the Manchester stop of her Dangerous Woman tour being targeted by a terrorist attack in 2017, along with Mac Miller passing away from a drug overdose in 2018 after they had broken up, but they still were close friends, and a lot of Mac Miller fans blamed Ariana for picking kind of Pete over him and like breaking up with him, and they blamed her for his death, which is very unfair, especially because she was already grieving at the time. So people were very supportive of her finding a stable partner like Dalton Gomez in 2021. But her career was not without stupid scandals like the donut licking scandal, which I'm not going to get too into, but basically she licked a donut she didn't pay for, and then she made like a quip about how she hates America, and she had to go on an apology tour for that, but it was so unserious. She also had a lot of diva accusations about her, like she had to be carried everywhere, or she only liked being filmed on a certain side of her face. This is kind of true, a true diva accusation, but it's okay. I mean, everyone has their good side, but there's like this Good Morning America performance where she's like completely dodging the camera that's trying to get the other side of her face, and it's just really great. And like I said, there was feud rumors with Victoria Justice and Jeanette McCurdy, but Ariana really solidified herself into pop music, getting her first #1 single, Thank You Next, and then followed up by 7 Rings and Break Up With Your Girlfriend, I'm Bored off of Thank You Next. So that was a very successful album for her before she would audition for Glinda and Elphaba in August of 2021. Now, John Chu and Ariana say that there was miscommunication about her auditioning for Glinda and Elphaba, but she had publicly sung some of Elphaba's songs, like The Wizard and I, at the Wicked 15th anniversary concert special. But when she was auditioning, it became clear that she was really there for the part of Glinda. In multiple interviews throughout her career, she's talked about wanting to play Glinda or Elphaba in any iteration.
And I'm sure that you have dreamed of playing one of the two roles. Would you be Elphaba or Glinda? You'd be Glinda.
For sure.
Wicked? Is that different though?
That's very different. Oh, that's very different. Yeah, that's very different. I'd do anything.
Elphaba.
I don't want to talk about it because I'm going to cry. And like, I would do anything to play Elfie.
So when she was cast as Glinda, she said emotionally that she's going to take such good care of her.
Be our Glinda the Good in the Wicked freaking movie.
I love her so much. I'm going to take such good care of her. Thank you so much.
So let's talk now about our Elphaba, Cynthia Erivo. Cynthia had a very different background. Rather than being a child star like Ariana, Cynthia wouldn't get into professional acting until after she graduated from the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art in 2010 with a bachelor's degree. After this, she would make her way to the stage and screen, finding smaller roles on British television and starting to do live theater. She would make her West End debut in the stage musical The Umbrellas of Cherbourg in 2011, and in 2013, she would star as Celie in the London production of The Color Purple, which was a extremely well-received production that would then transfer to Broadway in fall of 2015, and she would revive her role from the London production and star alongside Jennifer Hudson and Daniel Brooks. She would win a Tony for her Broadway debut in 2016, winning Best Actress in a Musical for her portrayal as Celie, beating other big shows like Philippa Sue in Hamilton and Jessie Mueller in Waitress. Her work in The Color Purple would also win a 2017 Grammy for Best musical theater album, and Cynthia Erivo would make her film debut in 2018 in the neo-noir thriller Bad Times at the El Royale. The following year, in 2019, Cynthia Erivo would then star in the biopic Harriet, where she played American abolitionist and social activist Harriet Tubman. She would be nominated for a Golden Globe and an Oscar for this role, and she would also be nominated for an Oscar for Best Original Song for the song Stand Up that she co-wrote and performed for Harriet. After this, she would continue to be booked and busy working on numerous projects. After her recognition for Harriet in 2020, she'd become a series regular in HBO's The Outsiders, based on the Stephen King psychological thriller horror novel. She'd also make a production company, Edith's Daughter, in honor of her mother. Cynthia's mother, Edith, raised Cynthia and her younger sister independently after her parents separated when she was young. Her career in Hollywood would continue to expand. She'd be in the ensemble of a lot of large movies like Chaos Walking, Needle in a Time Stack, and Disney's Pinocchio 2022. She'd also have a lot of guest spots in voice acting roles in Strange Planet, Blue's Clues and You, Star Wars Visions, Roar, and Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. In 2021, she would take some time to focus on her personal music career, releasing her debut album, Chapter 1 Verses 1. Her lead single on her album, The Good, featured Cynthia and another Black woman starring in the music video together, which sparked rumors about her sexuality, along with her relationship with Master of None star Lena Waithe. In an interview with The Standard UK, Cynthia would say she's queer, explaining, "It's just, I've never felt I necessarily needed to come out, just because no one really asked. People make assumptions. No one's ever really assumed that I'm straight. It's strange. I don't think anyone thinks of me as a person that has relationships that aren't platonic. So I've never really need to discuss anything about my sexuality at all." In Cynthia's album, she would also want to show the human behind the roles, saying that she wanted to sing my songs, my words. In the album, she would explore her childhood trauma in the song You're Not Here, where she sings a ballad about her non-existent relationship with her father who abandoned their family. And she would also write songs inspired by the violence against Black people during Trump's presidency in America. She would play the lead in an indie film, Drift, a movie that Cynthia also produced, and she would star alongside Idris Elba in Luther, The Fallen Son, a crime thriller. Cynthia has been known for her extravagant red carpet fashion and nail art. We'll loop back to this when we talk more about the fashion of the Wicked press tour and the premiere. So since I highlighted some of Ariana's controversies, I feel it's only fair to do the same for Cynthia. In 2019, she'd have her first major controversy after being cast in Harriet. There was controversy about casting a Nigerian British person to play a slave rather than a descendant of an African-American slave, and some of Cynthia's old tweets would also resurface, turning people further off from her being in the movie. Like this tweet says, "So once again, Harriet Tubman's life is an expression of so much that makes African-American descendants of chattel slavery a unique people with a unique lineage, culture, and history. How can you portray her when you dismiss and disrespect that unique lineage, culture, and history?" Referencing to a tweet where she mentioned somewhat making fun of or mocking a ghetto American accent. Cynthia would respond to these tweets in 2019 saying that they were taken out of context and she wasn't mocking anyone. She would respond again in early 2020 saying, "At first I was naive because I didn't know that it would be a huge problem for me to play this woman because I came from playing African American women on stage," which is true. She won the Tony for playing an African American woman in The Color Purple. "Then I took stock, valid points have been made, but I do think there's a discussion to be had between African Americans and Black American actors about their experiences we share on either side of the pond." At the time of her being cast in the role, she'd also post on Instagram saying, "I hope that I do everyone, even those who are in doubt or are upset, proud. I hope I quell your fears because I understand that is what this is. I cannot tell how protective I am of this woman and her story." But despite this controversy, her performance in Harriet was well received and got her Golden Globe and Oscar nominations. So the other big scandal that she's gotten into is her relationship with actress and screenwriter Lena Waithe. Cynthia and Lena would meet in 2018, and Cynthia would post on her Instagram saying, "I finally found my sis. Lena, you're absolutely everything. You're perfection. What a meeting of minds. Glad to have you in my life. Stuck like glue. Shine, queen, shine." And throughout 2019 and 2020, Cynthia and Lena would become close and start attending events together. But at this time, Lena was engaged to Alana Mayo, and they would get married in late 2019. But on January 23rd, they would release a joint statement that they had separated just 2 months after their marriage. It was reported that allegedly in early January 2020, Lena and Cynthia were seen holding hands and kissing at the Golden Globes. Here's an article from Just Jared that says Cynthia Erivo hangs out with pal Lena Waithe at Golden Globes after party. So Cynthia has gotten a lot of flack for probably breaking up this marriage, and Lena Waithe and Cynthia have been dating since. So let's talk a bit about the rest of the cast. In September of 2022, it was reported that Jonathan Bailey had joined the cast as Fiyero Tegelar. Jonathan Bailey is probably best known for playing Anthony Bridgerton in Bridgerton. We love him. We love him in Kate.
You are the bane of my existence and the object of all my desires.
But he also has a musical theater background. In October, it was announced that Jeff Goldblum was in final talks to star as the Wizard, and he completed talks by December. They would then announce the rest of the cast. Ethan Slater, who was Tony nominated for his role as SpongeBob in SpongeBob the Musical, and Michelle Yeoh would play Madame Morrible, and Marissa Bode would play Nessa Rose, and Bowen Yang and Browlin James would play Shen Shen and Fanny. If you remember, are in the books as Galinda's shallow friends, but I don't think they're named in the musical. They're just kind of like part of the ensemble. I do wonder if characters in the ensemble are called Fanny and Shen Shen and Averick and the other one. I can't remember now. But it's fun that they expanded upon these characters in the book. They became Galinda's entourage, I guess, in the movie, creating somewhat of a Heathers or Mean Girls dynamic, but really there for comic relief. In April of 2024, it was revealed at CinemaCon that Peter Dinklage was cast as the voice of Dr. Dillamond. So let's talk a bit about who else auditioned for Wicked, because Galinda and Elphaba are huge Broadway roles, fan favorite roles, beloved characters that any actress would be desperate to play. John Chu even said every actor who was available wanted to come in and read for Elphaba and Glinda. These are dream roles. We saw everybody, and they were all very good. Dove Cameron, the Disney actress and singer, would dream about playing Glinda in the movie adaptation of Wicked. She had talked about wanting to play the role and it being her dream role in quite a few interviews.
But also I really want to play Glinda in the Wicked movie if that ever happens. I really, really want to do that.
Everyone really wants you to be Glinda in Wicked.
Oh my god!
Including me, including Kristen Chenoweth. I mean, what is your reaction to that?
I mean, it's like the role of a lifetime. I've been dreaming of it since I was like 7. Yeah. So, I mean, I should be so lucky to be considered. Kristen has been my main inspiration since I was 7. I'm a massive fan, so it'd be a huge responsibility, and I would be lucky to be considered.
I feel like who would be great as Glinda on film would be Dove Cameron. I have done 2 movies with her, and she just, I've played her mother twice, so I would see that as like passing the baton, crown, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And I think Ariana Grande would make the perfect Elphaba.
Wow.
Oh my God, I would love to do it. I'd love to do it. I mean, I think every girl on the face of the planet would love to be a part of Wicked. Yeah, I know they're making it. I know they're finally making it. That's all I know. I wish I could tell you. Oh my God, yeah, the dream role.
But you'd also congratulate Ariana for getting the role, saying, "I'm so excited for Ariana. She's genuinely a dear friend of mine. We met when we were super young. I think she's gonna kill it. I think the whole cast is phenomenal head to toe." So like, as a fan, I'm really, really excited to see it. Amanda Seyfried would also audition for the role of Glinda, best known for her movie musical performances in Mamma Mia. She also opened up that she was playing Elizabeth Holmes in The Dropout at this time, which was a very difficult role for her to play while auditioning for Glinda. She said, "I literally bent over backwards while playing the hardest role of my life to go to auditions for Glinda, but I think it also taught me how far I've come as a singer, which I really wanted to prove, because ever since Les Mis, I was like, I need to do better. So whatever comes next in terms of musicals, I'm finally prepared."
You're gonna be popular. I'll teach you the proper ploys. Talk to boys, little ways to flirt and flounce. Oh, I'll show you what shoes to wear, how to fix your hair, everything that really counts to be popular.
After the film came out, she said it was fantastic and her kids love it. Renee Rapp would also admit that she auditioned for Galinda.
No. Did you audition for it?
I did.
I did audition for it.
I did, yeah.
Okay.
Ariana's gonna be... Can I cuss?
Yeah.
Okay, she's gonna be amazing.
Yes.
I'm so excited.
All
I'm
right.
so excited.
So, along with famous actresses auditioning for the role of Glinda, obviously, as Glinda's a huge Broadway role, a lot of Broadway actresses who aren't as famous and have recognizable names like Ariana Grande auditioned for the role. One of them caused a bit of online drama and discourse. So we're talking about Taylor Louderman, who she would post on her Instagram story after Ariana and Cynthia were announced to be cast in Wicked. She would write, "Why did I even audition or think I had a chance?" on an Instagram story. On another, she would write, "This business, you can't care too much about any role you're auditioning for, or you can get hurt and won't come back, but you have to care enough to give it your all. I cared too much this time. I hope it's okay that I'm sharing this." And Taylor Louderman would very much get torn apart for her vulnerability of wanting to be cast as Glinda very desperately, just because people felt like she was either tearing Ariana down or other people were just like, you could never play Glinda because you're not famous enough. And it just caused a big storm of people thinking she's entitled, or some people thinking she's right too, and like Ariana was a stunt cast. Very similar to if she was actually cast in like Wicked. Kind of like what I talked about when Sabrina Carpenter was cast in Mean Girls. There was a lot of like stunt casting and like you should cast real Broadway actors kind of thing. And that kind of sentiment is also shared when Broadway musicals are going to turn into movies. People are like, why don't you just cast Broadway actors? Which I agree and disagree, but Ariana and Cynthia are both Broadway trained, so I think they deserve the part as much as anyone else, but I think Taylor Louderman could have been good as well. It was also revealed that Ryan McCartan, Nick Jonas, and Joe Jonas auditioned for the part of Fiyero. Although the casting drama never seems to stop, in November, shortly before the movie was released, Ariana and Cynthia would do an interview where they'd be asked, when you learned the other one was cast, what was your reaction? And then Cynthia says, absolutely no surprise whatsoever. Ariana says, I said, thank God. And then Erivo says, thank goodness, because it was not the two ladies I was auditioning with, which Grande says, oh my God. And because Dove Cameron and Amanda Seyfried and Renee Rapp and Taylor Louderman have all publicly said that they were auditioning for Glinda, this has definitely brought some drama on who she could be talking about. But unlike Glinda, no one's come forward to say that they've auditioned for Elphaba yet. I'm sure as time passes, some people might talk about it, but right now people are just speculating who was in the running. But I assume a wider range of people were probably seen for Elphaba. In the New York Times interview that Cynthia and Ariana did, Cynthia does have some interesting insight when she was talking about the auditioning. The same interview that the drama came from, where she says, historically, Black women have never really been seen for this role. If they have, they haven't gotten the role, and if they do, they're usually the alternate or first cover. There's only one woman I know on record that has done it on the West End, so I just don't think they were looking for me, which is an interesting departure from the musical. Actually, later this year, the first Black actress is going to play Elphaba on Broadway, alongside Ali Trim as Glinda. So finally, after this preamble, they were going to start working on the Wicked movie production. Of course, there are things they had to figure out legally before, because if you remember, this is a adaptation of the Wicked book based on the public domain Wizard of Oz story, so they can't take elements that are unique to the film, even though a lot of the imagery is kind of borrowed from the film, but I guess legally they were able to do that. There was some things they had to change, like Elphaba's color of green. Also, the iconic swirl design in the center of the yellow brick road in Munchkinland had to be changed, along with the ruby slippers. But the final product of the movie ended up having lots of Easter eggs and nods to the original Wizard of Oz movie. April 26, 2020, they'd have a final big announcement leading up to the production of Wicked, that Wicked would not in fact be one movie, but two movies. John Chu would share on his social media, since they've been in production, it's become increasingly clear that it would be impossible to wrestle the story of Wicked into a single film without doing some real damage to it. As we tried to cut songs or trim characters, those decisions began to feel like fatal compromises to the source material that has entertained us all for many years. So we decided to give ourselves a bigger canvas and make not just one, but two Wicked movies. With more space, interesting, holding space, we can tell the story of Wicked as it was meant to be told, while bringing even more depth and surprise to the journey of these beloved characters. Cynthia, Ariana, and I, and all of the cast and crew, pledged to create nothing less than an experience that honors its foundation for all its fans who have waited for this movie, and to offer a thrilling, fantastical world full of dynamic characters that invites in those who are unfamiliar. And Wicked's composer Stephen Schwartz would say the reasoning for the two-part movie was that nothing nothing could organically follow Defying Gravity. And I actually do agree. I think that musical movies often have the problem where it's hard to fit both acts into one movie, and normally the second act ends up getting more songs cut or things changed to increase the pacing, and I think Wicked already has a bit of a problem with its second act being too fast-paced. And I think Wicked, the stage musical, is extremely fast-paced anyway. There isn't really much time to breathe between songs or jokes or lines or anything. And that's just not really the way that movies are. There's a lot more breathing room in movies. So I think in that case, they were able to take advantage of breaking it into 2 movies. Was the movie length being almost 2.5 hours just for the first movie necessary? Maybe not. There was some stuff that probably could have been cut, but I understand what they were going for, and I do think maybe it would be odd if Defying Gravity was like just followed by something, especially because Defying Gravity 2, thank goodness, is like years-long time skip, I assume. It could have worked, but a lot of songs and iconic lines would have had to be cut, and I know musical fans would hate that. And it seemed like the right choice for the most part. So I wonder if this is going to start a trend of like one act, one movie, another act, another movie, or if this is something only Wicked could pull off. And then rehearsal for the movie would start in late 2022. Ariana would dye her hair blonde in October, preparing for the role, along with dyeing her eyebrows to match. A bit of a controversial decision. So with this part of my video, I really want to get into the social media and fandom culture aspect of the Wicked movie release and leading up to the release. It was really interesting to observe how fickle different parts of the internet were at every step of filming the movie, leaks online, first looks, trailers, cast scandals, and like how back and forth people's public opinions were, going to loving the actors, to hating them, to thinking the movie looks bad. The movie just ended up having to go through so many mini scandals and controversies and different criticisms while leading up to the release. So one of the first major controversies that started forming was actually centered around Ariana Grande and her Galinda core reinvention and change in her image and persona and lack of music. So some Ariana fans, obviously not all of them, but a vocal group of them were upset about her kind of leaving her pop career behind and focusing all of her energy on Wicked. So Ariana had said that she didn't plan on releasing music until after Wicked had been released. So even on the announcement for the Wicked turning into 2-part movies, all of the comments from Ariana fans were things like, "We lost her, guys," and things like, "We're not getting Ariana Grande 7 until 2025, because she had really been putting her all into becoming Galinda and invested into the Wicked project, which made some of her fans from her pop career a little upset and sad that like she's moving on from that. Also, her appearance had changed pretty drastically from what people remember from her Sweetener, Thank You Next, Positions era. Her style of speaking also became a lot different. She went from speaking in a lower voice and mumbling more to really enunciating and projecting, not really using slang the same way that she used to, almost seeming like a pretty different person, which obviously would make some of her fans upset if they became attached to her older version of herself. It's kind of like the classic, like, "You've changed" situation. Leading up to the Wicked production, it seemed like the public opinion from somewhat negative to Ariana being cast had started to become more positive and cautiously optimistic. But like I said, musical theater fans have been burned before, so they're pretty judgmental and nitpicky about a lot of stuff that goes into the Wicked movie, which you'll see. But at this point, it was mostly positive. Principal photography for both films began in December of 2022 in England. And for the first 2 months of filming, basically no leaks of the costuming or any little teasers had been released. On January 20th, 2023, Ariana would respond to some of the criticism she's got with her casting and appearance change in a TikTok, writing, "Why aren't you a singer anymore? ? Is literally on set filming 2 movie musicals all day, every day, getting ready, hiding Galinda hair, bubble emoji, bubble emoji, bubble emoji." And she would respond saying she's going to sing something like Wicked adjacent by singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And she does sound really great and has a really lovely voice in this video, and a lot of the comments are like, "She's an angel." So she was definitely giving back to her fans and like communicating to them a bit, being like, "Don't be mad, guys," and showing that she's dedicating herself to Wicked right now.
Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me.
And during the early months of filming Wicked, Ariana and Cynthia would start posting on social media about how transformative the journey of making Wicked is. In April, she would make a long heartfelt post saying, "Halfway, savoring every millisecond left with my Galinda, although she'll be with me irrevocably forever." She shows me so many new things every day. I'm so grateful. I don't know what to say. To be here in Oz where every day is a life-changing one. To be feeling, learning, and growing so much at a disarming speed. To feel so much love around me. To begin each day before the sun is up and to end it after it sets. To hold my brilliant twin flame, Sister Cynthia's beautiful green hands every day. To work in the safest, most beautiful and loving, biggest yet most intimate, tiny feeling spaces. To be led by the most thoughtful, brilliant, compassionate, and warmest possible director on the planet. My other Ozian best friend ever, John. To be transforming and healing parts of me that I never knew needed it, or maybe did. Forgive me for this most cancerian, rambly post. Words don't suffice. I suppose I just want to attempt to share a little. I don't want it to end, so while I am still here, present, now, I just want to exclaim my tremendous gratitude and allow my heart to overflow. I hope this isn't all a dream, because as present as I am attempting to be, it sure feels like one. Happy halfway to the most beautiful crew, my fellow Ozians, my heart will be stuck here forever. So Ariana's first time really opening up about how important the Wicked journey has been for her. Also, is this cancer of her? I don't really know. They are all taking Wicked very, very seriously, and fans enjoyed their dedication to Wicked. A bit later in April, Ariana would address the ongoing body-shaming comments made across social media about her new look. The speculation would cause her to go on TikTok and make a TikTok defending her looks and her health and promoting positivity on the internet.
I just wanted to address your concerns about my body, and I think we should be gentler and less comfortable commenting on people's bodies, no matter what. There are many different kinds of beautiful. There are many different ways to look healthy and beautiful. I know personally for me, the body that you've been comparing my current body to was the unhealthiest version of my body. Sending you guys a lot of love, and I think you're beautiful.
This did end up quelling a lot of the negativity against Ariana and people starting to sympathize with her and support her message of being less critical of people's bodies and being openly critical about them. But Ariana and Cynthia's weight loss throughout their time filming Wicked and promoting Wicked has been a big talking point. So fans were desperate to get a glimpse of the Wicked sets or costuming or anything, and the first leaks would come in April when drone footage showed the Munchkinland sets, and a couple days later, Ariana filming No One Warrants the Wicked on the Munchkinland sets in her pink ball gown would be seen for the first time. Also, some clips of her singing No One Warrants the Wicked live on set would also be heard. People would mostly have a really positive opinion about these leaks, saying that the set looked really nice, Ariana's costuming looked good, her singing sounded great. Director John Chu would also post on his social media the very first official sneak peek of Wicked, writing, "You weren't told the whole story. What happens when you veer off the yellow brick road? Here's your very first look at the Wicked movie currently in production in Oz." And it would have an epic picture of Elphaba breaking a window and Galinda running up the stairs seemingly from the end of the movie. John Chu would post on his story a sign banning drones on the Wicked set, but unfortunately that didn't stop the leaks. In late April, some more set photos leaked showing Cynthia playing Elphaba for the first time outside of the press image. These photos include spoilers of the second movie. They show the Yellow Brick Road being under construction, like the Wizard of Oz talked about in the first movie, wanting to make a road to unify Oz. You can see the bricks being set, and it seems Elphaba's flying past the road production. So these were the first on-set photos of Cynthia that were seen, and it confirmed to people that they were doing the full green makeup rather than CGI. And in May, they would be filming at the Shiz University set, and this was a big leak for the movie because you can see the entire Shiz set. A lot of the actors who hadn't previously been seen in costume, like Bach and Nessa and Madame Morrible, are seen in these shots. You can also see Galinda's first day of school outfit and her talking to her parents. Cynthia as college-age Elphaba, while Cynthia and Ariana are behind the scenes. In the Daily Mail article where they review these leaks, there's this one photo of Ariana on set and it says, "Break time. Here, Ariana holds a Barbie pink purse as she talks to two male crew members between scenes." And I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's John Chu. I'm pretty sure that's the director. In the pictures, the water looks pretty green, and I was like, well, I wonder if they changed that in post. And like in the movie, it's like super blue, crystal clear water. And you can also see some photos of Madame Morrible and Elphaba talking to each other. I assume probably before The Wizard and I. In mid-May, some more leaks came out of Ariana Grande and Jonathan Bailey together on set. This was the first time you could see Jonathan Bailey in costume as Fiyero. Galinda's wearing this beautiful blue, pale pink dress. When I was looking for photos of the leak, some people were like jokingly posting pictures of Barbie and Swan Lake. Her dress is very Barbie and Swan Lake with the pale pinks and blues. And this is probably the biggest departure from the Broadway costuming, because I assume that the scene they're filming here from the context is like Thank Goodness and Fiyero and Galinda's proposal scene. Galinda's wearing like a very businessy kind of suit dress during Thank Goodness in the musical, but Fiyero's costume looks like pretty much what I remember the musical costume looking like. Ariana's dress is gorgeous. And the sleeves, that really gives The Wizard of Oz, because in The Wizard of Oz, Galinda had like those really puffy sleeves. And there are some photos of Ariana and Jonathan looking cute on set. I think this might have fueled some rumors that they were having an affair. But these Wicked set leaks would leave a lot of people with a positive impression of how the movie production is coming along. Obviously, there were some nitpick things, like people were like complaining about Galinda's dress being pink rather than like the blue petal dress that's become more synonymous with No One Mourns the Wicked Galinda. It's fine that it's pink. That's not a big deal. Or I saw some people also being critical of the No One Mourns the Wicked choreography. That scene is not my favorite, but I do want to do some comparisons between behind the scenes to the final product and see how it looks. In early June, Cynthia would open up about her experience working on Wicked, somewhat similar to Ariana's post, writing, "I've realized I've said very little about my experience on Wicked, and that's mainly because I've been keeping my head down and mining this beautiful, complex being that is Elphaba, and it's really hard to put it into words. It is day 111, and yesterday we finished filming I'm Not That Girl. When we had to come to the end of that moment, my heart broke open and tears fell. Please know this happens often. I thought of us, the ones who often feel like they're on the outside, the ones that don't know their differences, oddities, quirks are what makes them beautiful and special, the ones who, for some reason, believe they can't be loved, and I felt proud to sing a song that might speak to those feelings. I am endlessly grateful to play a role that turns the notion of what beauty is on its head. I'm endlessly grateful to be working with some of the most beautiful souls on the planet, and I'm already grieving for the day our little bubble must come to an end. I desperately hope when you finally see this film, you'll see you, you'll see me, you'll see John and Ariana, and our hearts laid bare. You'll see pain and joy, and maybe, just maybe, you'll see a little spark of light that says, you are who you are for a reason, and you are deserving of happiness, even though sometimes it might be hard to find. It is there for the taking. I hope all of the bumps and scrapes and scars that you've picked up along the way get a little healing when you finally relax in the theater with a snack, a drink, and hopefully friends you bring or friends you find while you're there. Love your Elfie, Cynthia E." I like how she did a little Regal snack roller coaster ad at the end there. I hope you're there with your drink and your snack. Also, I do want to point out that after Wicked Part 1 was released, they announced the title for Wicked Part 2 to be Wicked for Good. And if you look at the script that Cynthia posted like 2 years ago, it says Wicked Part 2 for Good. It seems like production would be going well from June until July, but they would have to stop because of the writer's strike. On July 19th, John Chu would release a statement on his Instagram story saying, "Not done yet, just paused until the strike is over and we can finish the last piece of the movie. We were only a few days away from being done and we are so close. It's been very painful to put a halt to it, but we will be back and we will finish properly strong when the time is right. My heart goes out to our cast and crew who are cut short of what we were here to complete together. More to come. But in the meantime, I'm excited to excavate what we have shot for the past year here in Oz. Release date shouldn't be affected. It has been an extraordinary adventure, more to do." And he would tag the whole cast, and all of the Wicked cast members would repost his story supporting the strike and his statement. And it seems like when they came back, they only filmed for maybe a couple days. So it seems like they probably just had like a couple of reshoots or close-ups or something to do. And it wasn't like major set productions. And the SAG-AFTRA strike would take place from July to November of 2023. But when the strike happened was really where everything went down in terms of controversy. All eyes suddenly turned on one of the leads of the movie, Ariana, and her relationship with one of her co-stars in Wicked, Ethan Slater. And this scandal gained huge widespread popularity and really damaged her reputation with her fans. When talking about this Ariana, Dalton, Ethan situation, it is going to seem kind kind of like fandom culture and really parasocial. It is. But also, it is really important, the relationship that a pop star like Ariana has with her fans. It's always important to stay in the good graces and good PR with your fans, because I really believe that you're not canceled until your fan base leaves you. Ariana was in this difficult predicament where suddenly all of her fans were even turning on her relationship, so much so that she had to respond by releasing an album to explain her side of the story, that she originally didn't plan on releasing an album until after Wicked was released. And the scandal was also in the backdrop of this multi-million-dollar huge musical production that has been in the works for like 20 years. So it was a big deal for Wicked fans, for Ariana fans, and she faced so much scrutiny for this. So we're really going to break this down and talk about the public opinion of Ariana. This is going to be Ariana's lowest point, but since the movie's release, she's kind of come back up. So it's kind of funny that everyone was so like, Ariana's horrible homewrecker, and then like once the movie came out and she was pretty decent in it, everyone was like, okay, she's forgiven, I guess. Because like I was saying about the fickle internet opinion, I think you can really see this in this story with Ariana. So around the same time as the strike, the actors finally got a chance to get off set, and what Ariana and Jonathan Bailey would do is go to the finale of Wimbledon, and Ariana was seen there allegedly, I guess, showing off that she wasn't wearing her wedding ring, or that's what people speculated. And seeing Ariana without her wedding ring would be a shock to fans because they were under the impression that Dalton and Ariana are going steady or whatever. I even saw in February of 2023, Dalton, Ariana's husband, posted "My Forever Valentine" at Ariana Grande and posted this picture of them. And all of Ariana's fan accounts were reposting this with mom and dad and stuff in the captions. But later, according to sources, they were already broken up in January. Although Dalton's post then confuses me because that seems to have a counter narrative, because why would he post this if they were already broken up? But Ariana's lack of wedding ring would then lead to probably her PR team making a statement saying on July 17th that Ariana had separated from her husband, Dalton Gomez, after 2 years of marriage. And just days later, news would break that Ariana is allegedly in a relationship with one of her co-stars of Wicked, Ethan Slater. A source, probably Ariana's PR, would say Ariana and Dalton separated in January. She and Ethan recently began dating, and he is separated from his wife. So that's part of the situation. When the news came out, they were both married. But on July 16th, Ethan Slater would officially file for divorce from Lily J, his wife and high school sweetheart, who he married in 2018, and she had their first son in August of 2022, less than a year prior. Add insult to injury, people thought it was funny that he played SpongeBob in the SpongeBob SquarePants musical, and also just like he's not a conventionally attractive guy. But really, the circumstances are enough because it just confused the public even more that Ariana was willing to risk it all. So Ariana and Ethan got torn apart for this. Definitely more of the vitriol was focused on Ariana because she's the bigger public figure, and people kind of ran with the narrative like Ariana could seduce any man she wanted, and Ethan kind of fell victim to Ariana's seductive ways or whatever. And then as info continued to come out, it seemed to only get worse for Ariana. Like there were claims that Lily J was completely blindsided. Also other reports saying that Ariana was hanging out with Ethan and his family and his baby, which just got really messy for Ariana and made her look really bad. And like normally, I feel like homewrecker is thrown around a lot, but in this case, she really did ruin a family with a newborn baby. I mean, there's a chance maybe that Ethan and Lily were already separated, but I don't think that's true because as we'll see as Ariana tries to defend herself, she's always saying they don't know the whole truth. I don't need to defend myself because they're not going to listen and stuff like that. But what she never says is there was no overlap. We were all single. So this was a big hit for her reputation and brought Wicked into the spotlight in a negative way. Suddenly everyone wanted to know about Ethan and Ariana's timeline, and Ariana fans were upset that their idol would do something like this. Musical fans were shocked that Ariana would put her dream role in jeopardy. Universal PR probably was completely panicking. Normally it's PR gold for co-stars to start dating each other, but the circumstances here are not so innocent. And as the internet does when someone's in a scandal, they start dredging up all of their past scandals. Like I talked about at the beginning, Ariana's had quite a few. She'd also face even more scrutiny about her appearance change over time and how her skin colors changed over time and her way of speaking. along with people looking into her past relationships and implying that she's cheated in the past or like she's stolen men who were in relationships. I think this is mostly corroborated from Naya Rivera's memoir, where she talks about how she was dating Big Sean and then she saw Ariana and Sean together, and then not long after, Ariana and Sean were dating. And apparently Pete Davidson broke up with his girlfriend like over text right before the announcement of him and Ariana's relationship became public. So it really was not looking good, and her character was really also not looking good. Ariana definitely got the brunt of the hate in the scandal, likely due to misogyny. Blaming a woman when a man cheats is pretty reductive, but it was the narrative that most people went with. Ariana's obviously a bigger name, and only Broadway fans would really know who Ethan Slater is. Pop culture spaces online would tear Ariana apart. On Reddit and Twitter and TikTok and YouTube, the pop culture side of the internet memed it up and joked at Ariana and Ethan's expense. So I pulled some comments of things that people were saying. Like, my immediate reaction was, she's dating SpongeBob. This person says, do y'all think she's attracted to his SpongeBob voice? And then here's one that says, wife of Tom Kenny, the SpongeBob voice actor, clarifies Ariana Grande is not dating her husband. Also, people on Reddit looking into Ariana and Ethan's history. Like, here's a post on Reddit where it shows Ethan's anniversary post to his wife in 2022, and Ariana Grande liked the post. There's no way SpongeBob pulled Ariana Grande. Wow. Women do really like silly little guys. Ariana and SpongeBob wrecking their marriages for each other is giving high school theater realness. Even Ariana's fan spaces online started to turn on her. This person says, I used to love Ariana Grande, but there's no way to spin breaking up a marriage and cheating on your own husband in the process. Even her subreddit AriHeads has turned critical of her. It sucks because this is someone who is so beautiful, wealthy, undeniably talented, who's essentially ruined her own reputation and brought bad press to the biggest project of her life. Not to be all psychoanalytical, and I'm not excusing her behavior at all, but it's gotta mess you up to have so much money and success and be surrounded by adoring people who enable your bad choices. She's been in the spotlight for too long, and I think she just wants the few things she can't immediately have, hence her history of breaking up relationships and cheating. I think that's why so few celebrity relationships actually last. And someone responds with another highly upvoted post. What astounds me is she's apparently wanted to play Glinda forever. It's her dream role in a huge multi-million project, and she's blown it all up for that guy? Really? That guy? Looking at these comments retrospectively is interesting because I do think Ariana did have a hit to her reputation, but I don't really think it got in the way of Wicked in any meaningful way, and the spotlight was successfully pushed onto the heart of Wicked, which is Elphaba and Glinda and Ariana and Cynthia, and the main focus of the press was promoting their friendship and pushing Cynthia into the mainstream, as well as Ariana redefining herself as an actress. But the first step for this was Ariana releasing music again. And in December, Ariana would announce that she's in the studio working on new music. Ariana was initially very against releasing music until the Wicked movies were out, or at least one of them was out. But when the strike happened, she went to the studio and she says it happened organically, that she wanted to work on more music. The first single off of the album, Yes And, was released January 12th, which is a confidence-boosting song about doing what you want and not letting the haters get to you. And some of the lines definitely seem to reference the scrutiny in the media. Like she says, my face is sitting, I don't need no disguise, don't comment on my body, do not reply, your business is yours and mine is mine. Why do you care so much whose I ride? Why? And after the release of Yes And, Ariana would announce her new album, Eternal Sunshine, released March 8th. Eternal Sunshine is an album that explores love and loss that Ariana has experienced, but it's also a concept album relating to the plot of the 2004 film Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind, in which the characters are able to selectively erase their memories of past relationships. Songs on the album like Bye and Don't Want to Break Up Again set the stage that she's conflicted about breaking up with someone, but she knows it's for the best. Ariana starts to realize she needs to have a big life change and overhaul with Saturn's return, which is something that happens when a person's between 29 and 30, where they reflect on their life and maturity and responsibility. This happens when Saturn returns to the place where it was when you were born, and this is a big time for people to find a new life direction and reevaluate their life. In Eternal Sunshine, she sings about finding a new love and singing a song to her previous love, saying, I showed you all my demons, all my lies, yet you played me like Atari. Hope you feel alright when you're in her. I found a good boy and he's on my side. You're just my eternal sunshine. Showing that she's learning and growing from her past experience, but she's ready for another relationship. And Supernatural, she sings about the pull of being attracted to a new person, while in True Story, she starts to sing about her relationship with the media and media's perception of her, saying, I'd play the bad girl if you need me to, if it makes you feel better. I'll be the one you love to hate, can't relate, too much on my plate. Basically saying if the media wants her to be the bad guy, she's willing to do that. And her next song on the album, The Boy Is Mine, plays into this concept of her being the unapologetic villain. And then we have Yes and We Can't Be Friends that address the media scrutiny more directly. In We Can't Be Friends, she says, I don't want to tiptoe, but I don't want to hide, but I don't want to feed this monstrous fire. Just want to let this story die, and I'll be alright. You cling to your papers and pens. Wait until you like me again. Wait for your love. I'll wait for your love. And Ariana's directly addressing celebrities being torn down and built back up. She knows that the scandal will pass and people will love her again, but the time isn't right now. Then on I Wish I Hated You, another song where she explores mixed feelings about a breakup, and Imperfect for You, she sings about finding people who love and support you in spite of your flaws, and then in Ordinary Things, she focuses on cherishing the mundane moments in a relationship and finding beauty in ordinary things. She would largely avoid doing press for this album, but she would do an interview with her bestie, Zach Singh. She talks in this interview about deconstructing her identity of Pop Ari and building herself back up as a new person that is more authentic to her childhood self, and she feels like this is the most authentic music she's created. She also feels like she really found herself while being Galinda and putting her all into creating the Galinda character. After Ariana's album release, another actor from Wicked, Bowen Yang, would defend Ariana, saying,
I can tell you for a fact that what people out there seem to be clinging onto is not correct. Is incorrect. The narrative is wrong. The narrative is wrong, and she's not even outwardly saying that. But the narrative has been incorrect, and people have even retracted things in these stories with no f***ing apology to the people who are involved.
Yeah. Yep.
Singer Charli XCX would release a song off of her album Brat, exploring her inner turmoil and insecurity about being compared to other women in the music industry. Ariana would feature on this track on the Brat, and it's completely different but also still Brat. The remix has a new twist on the song where Charli and Ari sing about media scrutiny. Ariana's verse on the song, she sings, It's a knife when you know they're counting on your mistakes. It's a knife when you're so pretty they think you must be fake. It's a knife when they dissect your body on the front page. It's a knife when they won't believe you. Why should you explain? It's a knife when mean fans hate your nice fans. When someone says, Ari, I think you've totally changed. It's a knife when someone says they like the old me and not the new me, and I'm like, who the fuck is she? And in the pre-chorus they sing, cause it's a knife when you're finally on top, cause logically the next step is they want to see you fall to the bottom. It's interesting that in 2024, so many artists release albums like Eternal Sunshine and Tortured Poets Department and Brat that all have the singers grappling with how the public will receive them for true or fake stories, and it seems like their music is the only way that they can really open up about these subjects. And I do think more or less Eternal Sunshine was able to repair her reputation. The best thing that a pop star can do is release new music to get the fans on their side. And Ariana did explain the situation for her fans who are willing to listen. And time passing just also makes people forget about the scandal. And cheating's not the end of the world. Of course, I feel bad for Ethan's ex-wife, but she'll heal as time goes on. She recently wrote an essay called How Does My Divorce Make You Feel? And it's a very mature and beautiful response to the situation, where she talks a bit about how she's a very private person, and for the first time, basically, her entire life was on full display, and how she dealt with that. She would say, becoming a psychologist solidified my detachment from social media. Professors urged me and my graduate school peers to be wary of the conclusions an understandably curious patient might reach if they were to unearth online artifacts of our real-world lives. My partner was on a different path, in which social media and exposure were not impediments but rather necessities. She'd also explain with the reckoning of her marriage ending, saying, I worked diligently on my private project of accepting the sudden public downfall of my marriage. This, I tell myself, is nothing to be ashamed of and nothing to hide. Slowly but surely, I have come to believe that in the absence of a life I planned with my high school sweetheart, a lifetime of sweetness is waiting for me and my child. While our partnership has changed, our parenthood has not. Both of us fiercely love our son 100% of the time, regardless of how our parenting time is divided. As for me, days with my son are sunny. days when I can't escape the promotion of a movie associated with the darkest days of my life are darker. And she would end it writing, some of what you love most about your partner was actually your own goodness reflected back on you. It's yours to keep and carry forward. And I think that was a really mature response from her, and I wish the best for everyone involved. And I hope they can all heal and grow. Wicked would wrap at the end of January 2024. All of the cast and crew would make their reflective posts on being in Wicked. Cynthia Erivo would say, I've been trying to think of what I'd say when this day finally came, and I'm failing miserably because honestly, there aren't enough words to fully express what this experience has meant to me. So I'll leave you all with this. The universe will take things away to make space for grand gifts it has waiting for us. This moment, this film, these people, this cast, this crew, this director, my Galinda, were the grandest gifts I could have asked for. I'm eternally grateful for the chance to bring you this Elphaba. I hope when you meet her, you'll love her as much and as fiercely as I do. And with that I say, that's a wrap for me. Elfie out. Ariana comments on this, I love you always. John Chu makes a post thanking the cast and crew, saying, most of this year my jaw has been on the floor and heart in the clouds. Cameras began rolling here in London in November of 2022, and now in January of 2024, our principal photography has officially wrapped. Whew, exhale. Closing my eyes and click, click, click. And Ariana posts like a handprint on my heart, which is a line from For Good. John Chu would repost saying, we'll never forget my year with Galinda. They're doing the most with these bubble emojis. We'll never forget my year with Galinda. Can't wait for you to meet her. Thank you, Ariana Grande, for pouring your heart into Oz. Ariana would then respond saying, I'll never forget every minute of my years with her, either or you, or my sin, permanently and preferably intertwined. I am inexplicably thankful that we got to add so many soggy eyelashes to the collection. There aren't words quite yet, but thank you, John, for leading the way with such compassion, openness, brilliance, and kindness. I've never seen someone conduct a space the way you do. I love you so much. Also making another post thanking the crew, saying, my heart sincerely physically aches that I will not be sharing every day with this crew anymore. Thank you for your brilliance and many handholds and hugs along the way. Some comments were still negative about Ariana, like this one saying, I really hate that Ariana and Ethan's drama overshadowed this. I've been looking forward to a Wicked movie for 20 years. This actually does seem like it was handled with love and care. And there are so many love letters to fans in these photos. And then someone responds, I don't know, I hate the fact that they stretched Wicked into 2 movies. More than that, Ariana's affair story overshadowed the movie itself. It's another Hobbit trilogy situation. I'm really concerned both Wicked films would be dragging as hell. And people being a little catty, like this person says, they've finished filming, let's see if SpongeBob and Ariana last until November. And sigh, they really ruined the magic before it even had a chance. I think this is all kind of funny because I don't think the drama got in the way of the film release at all. And you can really tell how much love and care all of the cast and crew have for each other, and I feel like even though it's a little much, I'd rather they have a positive experience than a negative one. And it makes me excited for maybe more John Chu directed musicals because it seems like he's really proving himself as a director with this movie. Also, after seeing the first Wicked movie, I really don't think that it being in 2 parts is a problem. I think it's actually better, rather than when they make movies and put cliffhangers and then don't get sequels or whatever. I'd rather more franchises just be we're making 2 movies, we're making 3 movies, and just setting their expectations and then cutting off when they feel like the story is done, rather than just dragging out a story awkwardly, which a lot of franchises have been doing recently. There are a couple parts of Wicked that may be dragged, but honestly, if they cut any songs, the fans would not be having it. And they even shortened some songs that people care less about, like Something Bad and A Sentimental Man. But imagine if they shortened one of Elphaba's songs, people would not be having that. Wicked would finish doing reshoots in February, and they'd really get to promoting the movie. February 11th, Wicked would release their first look trailer. And this is when Wicked got a lot of backlash for its lighting and color grading. Lots of posts started being made I'm so tired of movies looking like this. When will it be over? And numerous posts would go viral complaining about Wicked looking dark or drab and uncolorful, and this would continue to be talked about throughout the rest of the year. This post from October says, I know we're beating a dead horse at this point, but seriously, why does it look like this? And in December, someone wrote, if a movie that looks like this wins Best Picture, I will become the Joker. This criticism was not just directed at Wicked, but also other big blockbuster motion pictures and just how dark everything has become now. Someone would post, "I wish movies still look like this," and then someone would quote tweet it saying, "Children yearn for Technicolor," and this post got really big. I think the reason that people are so critical too of the color grading in Wicked is because The Wizard of Oz was such a groundbreaking movie showing Technicolor. So this would be ongoing criticism of the movie from trailers, but in November, John Chu would finally respond to the Globe and Mail, saying, "I mean, there's color all over it. I think what we wanted to do was immerse people in Oz, to make it feel like a real place. Because if it was a fake place, if it was a dream in someone's mind, then the real relationships and stakes that these two girls are going through wouldn't feel real." He would also say Oz has been seen in so many different ways already, saying, "But for us, I want to feel the dirt. I want to feel the wear and tear of it, and that means it's not plastic." He would continue, "We have the environment. The sun is the main source of light. You see the vast landscapes. You see the air. You see creatures exist here. These two characters will go through 2 movies, their relationship with the nature of this land that the wizard imposed himself. The contrast goes up over time because that's what Elphaba brings to the world." He would also tell Business Insider, "I love the aesthetic. I love that it doesn't feel like we're on a backlot, that there's actual life, that there's environment, and it's not perfect, that you see the scratches and dust." I guess I understand John Chu's vision, but I don't agree. The Land of Oz is all about being over the top and colorful and whimsical and theatrical. I do think there are parts of the Wicked movie that do look beautiful. Particularly for me, the Shiz University set is my favorite, and I think the brightness of the school looked really good. But there are scenes later on in the movie where I just feel like I want everything to be brighter. It's just hard to see. And I just wish it was maybe a bit more vibrant and contrasted and colorful. It actually doesn't even really look like real life to me. It looks more washed out and neutral than real life does. So I understand why he wants realism in the environment, but it doesn't look real. Also, does a story about witches need an environment based in realism? I feel like this doesn't pay homage to the 1939 film. But there are some other interesting things I noticed when looking at this first look trailer. You can see that they use a different take of Galinda saying, "You're green."
You're green. I am. You're green. I am.
Also, quite a few of the shots in this trailer are actually from part 2, which in my opinion is a little bit deceitful. Here are some of the shots I noticed that weren't in the first film. We have Elphaba looking at a pile of yellow bricks. The Yellow Brick Road production didn't even happen at all in the movie. They were only in the planning stages of making the Yellow Brick Road. We see here Galinda's in a bubble in Emerald City. We only saw her in a bubble in Munchkinland. We also see Dorothy wearing the jeweled slippers with Toto walking into the wizard's chambers. And we see another shot of the wizard talking to the Tin Man, the Lion, the Scarecrow, and Dorothy. And then finally we see the shot, this is probably the most shocking one, of Galinda getting married, which does not happen in the musical. I guess the behind the scenes drama wasn't totally forgotten at this point because the top comment on the trailer was, "I love how they strategically didn't show SpongeBob." And I like how we know who they're talking about. In April of 2024, they would release another teaser at CinemaCon, and they would also reveal that Peter Dinklage is voicing Dr. Dillamond. I found a leak of the CinemaCon trailer. I'm not going to play any clips of it, but it does include some stuff that happens in Act 2. Elphaba and Galinda run into each other after not seeing each other for a while, and Galinda says, "I can't believe you still ride around on that dirty old thing," talking about her broom, and then Elphaba says, "We can't all come and go by bubble." I did notice in this shot, Galinda's wearing the wedding dress, so I guess she sees her for the first time right after her marriage to Fiyero? Crazy. But also, why would they include that in the trailer when they know that's not in Act 1 of the movie? It just seems weird. There's a lot of material they could pull from Act 1. So the press fashion is another thing I want to talk about. One of my favorite parts of the Wicked press tour was seeing all the red carpet looks inspired by Galinda and Elphaba. This would start in March when Cynthia and Ariana would attend the Oscars wearing pink and green, and they would continue to go to many, many, many events throughout the year wearing intricate outfits like they would be seen at the Olympics, and they would be seen on the multiple part Wicked premiere. The first premiere would be in Sydney, Australia. This is my favorite look of the two of them, I think, because this Galinda dress is very reminiscent of Billy Burke's Galinda dress from the Wizard of Oz movie. Of course, they couldn't recreate this dress for the film, but it's fun that she paid homage to it on the red carpet. Then at the Los Angeles premiere, they were again seen wearing pink and green. This time, Cynthia's wearing more of a neon green, and Ariana's wearing more of a pale pink. At the Mexico City premiere, Cynthia wore this cool shadow shoulder dress that references Margaret Hamilton's picture of the Wicked Witch of the West when she's playing with the shadows in this portrait. I feel like I want this dress and then the Billy Burke pink dress. It's sad that they never wore them at the same time. To me, these were the most obviously referential. And Ariana was wearing another pale pink whitish dress. Then we have the New York City premiere where Ariana's just wearing a hot pink dress and Cynthia's in black, pretty classic looks. Then there was also the premiere in the UK. Each of the premieres had a different location theme, and this was the one where I was like, oh, I actually get how they're referencing the location theme because London's theme was Emerald City. Ariana's wearing a very much Broadway Emerald City Glinda outfit because she wears the same shade of yellow in the Broadway show, and she wears the Emerald City glasses also in some of these photos. In articles, they say that Cynthia's outfit is also referencing One Short Day. I can't really place how. I wonder if it's the silhouette. I feel like the headpiece is very what they were wearing in that scene. I love how much Ariana and Cynthia commit to their red carpet looks. So along with Ariana and Cynthia being everywhere, there were also crazy Wicked collabs leading up to the movie release, like Ariana's makeup company, REM Beauty, did a collab with Wicked. Wicked also had a collaboration with Crocs. Lots of other clothing companies like Forever 21, Target, Gap, H&M, Justice, and Hot Topic also did Wicked collabs. OPI Nail Polish was also a partner of Wicked and released a Wicked nail polish line. Cynthia would tag OPI in all of her red carpet looks, so it seems like she also used their products for the Wicked premieres. They also released lots of different toy tie-in lines, like a Squishmallow line, Build-A-Bear, Lego toy sets. There was also the Stanley x Wicked tumblers. Also, infamously, Mattel would release a fashion doll line of the Wicked characters. They had Galinda, Elphaba, Nessa, Madame Morrible, and Fiero. I'll be honest, I'm not loving these dolls' faces. And if I was Ariana, I'd be kind of offended that they made my face look like this. But I do think the Elphaba at Shiz University fashion doll is really cute. Also, Fiero looks crazy. And like the facial hair is too much. I hope all the custom doll content creators are repainting them and making them look better. But what was so infamous about these dolls is on the box, it links to wicked.com, which is an adult film site. The Wicked movie domain is actually just wickedmovie.com, which is definitely embarrassing to list the wrong site on the packaging anyway, but also listing a porn site on a kid's toy. It's not great. Not a great oversight. And as the film got closer to release, more press and promotional images were being released. One of the ones fans were waiting in anticipation for was for them to recreate the iconic Broadway poster that's on the playbill, where the Good Witch is whispering into the ear of the Wicked Witch of the West while she smirks. On October 9th, with the tickets being released, a new poster would also be released referencing this poster, but it didn't live up to fan expectations. People felt like Ariana's hand placement wasn't right and Cynthia's expression wasn't what the original poster gave, leading to fans editing and recreating the poster, being more authentic to the playbill art. But on October 16th, Cynthia would respond on her story, reposting a fan edit from Wicked Mexico fans with a passionate Instagram story saying, "This is the wildest, most offensive thing I've seen. Equal to that awful AI of us fighting. Equal to the people posing the question, is your green? None of this is funny. None of it is cute. It degrades me. It degrades us." The original poster is an illustration. I am a real life human being who chose to look right down the barrel of the camera to you, the viewer, because without words we communicate with our eyes. Our poster is an homage, not an imitation. To edit my face and hide my eyes is to erase me, and that is just deeply hurtful. So obviously this was a weird response to a fan edit. I think she took it offensively in a way that no one really understood, because people were just trying to authentically recreate the poster and it wasn't meant to attack her in any way. Also, I do want to clarify the meme that is your green goes back to 2014, and it was from a graffiti someone made on the Wicked poster. And people often joke, what is Galinda whispering to Elphaba in the poster anyway? And I think the meme's funny because I feel like it's actually something that Galinda might ask Elphaba, and that's what's funny about it. Obviously, I don't think people should be directing these comments at Cynthia, but her reaction was very odd, and I actually still don't understand it to this day. I was gonna say, like, girl, just post that on your close story, but like, even on your close story, I'm like, what are you trying to say? And the fan that posted the edit that Cynthia put on blast would say it was an innocent fan edit to pay homage to the original Broadway poster. I guess what I also think is quite weird about the situation is only really diehard Broadway fans would care about this poster design, so the fact that she doesn't see that is confusing. She would respond to the backlash she would get from this weird reaction.
It wasn't necessarily a clapback. I think I'm really protective of the role. I am passionate about it, and I know that the fans are passionate about it, and I think for me it was just like a human moment of like wanting to protect little Elphaba, and it was like a human moment. I probably should have called my friends, but it's fine. So much.
I feel like this is the weirdest scandal that came out of the movie because I still completely don't understand it. Because there's so many other things being said about Wicked online that could actually be seen as degrading or rude, and then this is just like not one of them. So the cast of Wicked would of course start their press junket, talking to different interviewers about their experiences working on Wicked. Lots of tears were shed and lots of memes were made. People would often focus on the fact that Ariana and Cynthia cried in almost every interview. I think you can really see how much they're deeply emotional theater kids. At first, I found it kind of overwhelming, but I understand from reading their Instagram posts how transformative they saw the process of making Wicked. One of the most popular memes from their press junket was the holding space meme. So in an interview with Out Magazine, an interviewer was talking about how queer spaces are interpreting the lyrics of Defying Gravity after Trump's election, but the interviewer really didn't explain it in a way that made sense.
I've seen this week people are taking the lyrics of Defying Gravity and really holding space with that and feeling power in that. Would you touch on that moment in the film when Elphaba has been banished, and yet she comes into her full power at that moment of the worst time?
I didn't know that was happening.
I've seen it, yeah.
That's really powerful.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was happening.
I've seen it on a couple posts. I don't know how widespread, but I am in queer media, so that's my,
That's really cool.
Yeah, but yeah, it's happening.
People were also confused by Cynthia's reaction, but what became even more confusing is Ariana grabbing a singular finger of Cynthia's during this conversation. They later explained they all had different interpretations of what she was saying and what was happening.
She said something that meant something to her. It meant something totally different to you.
Yes.
And then she tried to kind of get somewhere else.
Yeah.
And the craziest thing was, I remember in the moment asking myself, am I okay? Did I not hear something?
And Ariana and Cynthia say they like to support each other with physical touch when they see the other person starting to get emotional, which is seemingly what Ariana was doing, I guess by grabbing one finger. But this image of them holding space became a really iconic picture, and lots of celebrities have recreated it.
It's an honor talking to you. I feel like sort of starstruck.
I mean, I know. You walk in like, Tracy, Tracy!
I was like, holy shit. Okay, this better be good.
Well, there's nothing that we can do that can trump what happened, you know what I mean?
No.
First, I just want to let you know that I am holding space for you.
Thank you. I'm starstruck.
Yeah, I am starstruck.
Yeah.
Well, likewise. And I'm going to go to you first.
During the press tour, they would also talk about a lot of different issues and topics that have come up, like Ariana would again discuss the criticism on her body.
I have heard it all. I've heard every version of it, of what's wrong with me, and then you fix it, and then it's wrong for different reasons. And I think in today's society, there's a comfortability that we shouldn't have at all. Commenting on others' looks, appearance, what they think is going on behind the scenes, or health, or how they present themselves, from what you're wearing, to your body, to your face, to your everything. There's a comfortability that people have commenting on that I think is really dangerous.
And there was some criticism involving the rest of the cast, like Marissa Bode's Nessa Rose. Marissa was the first wheelchair user in Wicked's history to play Nessa Rose, and I've always felt like Nessa's plot and language she uses in the second act is a little bit ableist, and I do think Wicked also plays into the ableist stereotype of having villains be disabled characters. So I was excited about the ability to reclaim this character and maybe change it to be more authentic to someone like Marissa's experience. And because Nessa Rose is a villain character, after, it kind of opened the door for people to use ableist language to insult her. Marissa would call this out and educate people on the ableist comments they were making on a 5-minute long TikTok at the end of November.
And not liking Nessa herself is okay because she is fictional. That's totally fine. I am a deeply unserious person. I love a little jokey joke. The house jokes, silly, goofy, harmless, because the basis of the joke is fictional. Aggressive comments and jokes about Nessa's disability itself is deeply uncomfortable because disability is not fictional. At the end of the day, me, Marissa, is the person that is still disabled and in a wheelchair. And when these jokes are being made by non-disabled strangers with a punchline of not being able to walk, it very much feels like laughing at rather than laughing with. Aggressive comments of wanting to cause harm and push Nessa out of her wheelchair, or that she deserves her disability, are two very gross and harmful comments that real disabled people, including myself, have heard before. Thankfully, I'm at a place in my life today where I can recognize these jokes about disability are made out of ignorance. I couldn't say the same about Marissa 10 years ago, and it would have affected younger me a lot more. And I'm worried that a younger version of myself is somewhere on the internet and is harmed by these comments.
So in this part of the video, I was going to break down Wicked, the actual movie and final product, but I think it would be better if I actually just did another video just talking about my Wicked review rather than adding it onto the end of this video. I'm working to be more consistent with posting, and I hope to have more of a schedule, so please subscribe if you'd want to see that video. I was kind of hoping to be done with Wicked videos, and I promise I'll make videos about other stuff after this Wicked movie video. Please let me know if there's any topics you would want me to make deep dives into. If you've watched the video to this point, I really hope you subscribe. Did you know that my watch time from subscribers is 2.4%? And I was watching a Swell Entertainment video where she said the average is like 40 to 50. So I have a lot to go. It's funny. I'm sad, but it's funny. And I want to thank any members for membering. I was really excited I got my first member last month. And I'm working on redesigning the badges and stuff. And I think they're going to be very cute. And I'm very thankful for the support, even if you just want a member for like 1 month. So thanks, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.